My sacred duty to bring the best wishes and respects from a grateful community that's across the country on the shores of the Commonwealth of Virginia. In Ecclesiastes, we read that there's a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. This is a time to remember, a time of celebration, and a time of dedication. It is a time to remember, and I am not naive to the fact that my words today cannot hold a candle to the witness or the words that we can no longer hear from Ryan or the other valiant men and women who sacrificed it all for our communities, for our causes, and for our country. There is no question that in my own life, and for many of you here, that we are forever changed by those brave souls who left us too soon. Some of the best that we have, like Ryan, who fought against some of the worst the world has to offer. And yesterday I was on the beach in Virginia Beach with my own son, and I was watching him play in the water, and it was a little windy, and I was looking at a flag that somebody had hung out on a pier, looking much like the flags are right now, flying in the wind. And I thought about today, and I thought about my journey out here and what I would say and what I would want my son to know and how I would want him to know Ryan's story. I would want him to understand and strive to be the type of man that Ryan was, the type who would fight for what is right, the type who would stand up to the strong, for the weak, and live a life with poise, purpose, and as a patriot. It is a time for celebration, for in our heartache there is always hope, and we are better because Ryan has lived. And at all times throughout our history, from the surf of San Diego to the cornfields of Chillicothe, to the vineyards of Virginia, valiant men like Ryan have emerged and run to the fight on our behalf. And Ryan entered SEAL training like the other ambitious, hard-charging, and highly capable American men who desired to test themselves in arguably the world's toughest military training, to be forged in a unique fire, ready to do their duty for our nation. What is it about men like Ryan that willingly put their body and mind and soul through hell, failing and falling and getting up and pressing forward and never quitting? I can tell you that it is freedom and submission and love. For those who emerge exhausted, swollen, and chafed out of Hell Week and SEAL training have submitted to the team. They have submitted to a cause greater than themselves. They have made the decision, a profound one indeed, to put the team and the country above themselves. They have volunteered and chosen this path to fight for the love of their country, for their families, and for their brother on the left and right. What expression of free will and freedom could be more profound? Indeed, the Bible tells us that greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. This is a time of dedication, and we must honor Ryan and his family, not simply for them, but for us, for the very fabric of our land, and for our descendants, for generations to come. There is nothing small about the big task that it takes to defend freedom, peace, and our way of life.
As someone who has been through hell all week, as someone who has been through a bunch, who understands the quiet nature of this, is it sort of weird to you to see everybody out here talking about the death of a Navy SEAL when the Navy SEALs in and of themselves don't really like to talk?
Well, that's a good question. I think, number one, when something like this happens, I think it's good to honor folks. It's good to honor folks who have paid the ultimate sacrifice in their families, quite frankly. And why I say that is you want to inspire the next generation of folks to rise to any occasion to defend this nation, just like Ryan did. Now, that being said, of course, there is a point when it's time to, okay, let the family get back into society, get back into doing in their daily lives and you know, achieving their own dreams and goals, right? So, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to honor the fallen. I think it's a good thing that the nation does it. We should always do it.
Do you feel, sir, that as someone who comes from that area, as someone who has been in that area, who everybody there gets the Navy SEALs because there's so many of them there, they're based there. Here, they have a near mythical thing. It's almost unbelievable, if you will. How do you try to describe for the average person how important people like Ryan were, beyond just the fact that he protected us. Fine, all people in the armed forces protected.
Yep.
What did he do that was above and beyond? Please.
Well, let me first say that, of course, and I have the honor and quite frankly, the duty and responsibility to represent the district that has more military and veterans than anyone in the nation, congressional district-wise, all the East Coast SEAL teams. And there's no question that there's a culture out there that is a little bit different, and there's a divide, if you will, in the country. But the reality is, our people in the SEAL teams and beyond are from small towns and cities all around this land. Just like Chillicothe, right? I myself am from a small town with no stoplights, same type of thing. So we've all come from somewhere around this country and have gone through hell together and have submitted to a cause greater than ourselves and the team for our people like Ryan to willing to sacrifice it all for their families, their brothers at arms, and this country. Again, going back to your first question, that's why it's so important that we do honor folks that have fallen. And yes, there is a quiet professionalism within our own SEAL community, but the reality is we have to honor our fallen because they're part of the very fabric that keeps this nation together.